Fuck you, Target. It's all hot too, the fucking light. And I'll tell you that when you buy it, it's gonna be too goddamn hot.
Come on, you're kidding, right?
I thought
someone should have told me that this thing was gonna get hot.
Well, you guys said I needed a ring light, and then I finally get one, and it's just the same as these others. I bought 3 lights to try to do one job.
You didn't buy a ring light. You bought a light that was in the shape of a ring.
Well,
he got like a engineer's light. Show us your light, Andy.
Yeah,
well, I got this one over here.
Yeah, that's not a ring light.
It's like a Pixar character.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, that's not a ring light, dude. It is a good Pixar character though. It would be a Lampy.
Yeah, see?
Oh, that's a ring light.
And then also I can
turn it. Can't you turn it down?
Show.
I don't want to read.
No, he can't because it's not a regular ring light. It's a light in the shape of a ring.
Yes.
So you were right, Shaley. You were totally right.
I can put my phone on it and broadcast to people wherever I'm at.
I ordered one of those Loom cubes, Shaley. I'll get it Friday.
They're great, man.
They had a sale on them with the little stand and everything.
Yeah, like this.
This has got that and another little stand. It has the whole kit.
That's this.
Shit.
Maybe that, yeah.
Yeah, it is. They're great, man. It's extendable. And I'm only doing this display so that everyone sees that 2 of us will now have professional lighting for the podcasting station.
So how many shirt tubs do you put that on? I go double stack shirt piles.
Andy, you were looking at $6,000 mountain bikes. I think your t-shirt sales are doing.
I wanted to look at bikes that were a lot less, but I saw that one with the 6, and then I was like, 600? Fuck, I'll figure out a way to get that right now. But no, there was, I'm not going to be riding any of those bikes. I got to wait till COVID gets better and send out my chop crew to hustle some up district bikes.
Mm-hmm.
You know? There's not even a Starbucks on campus now, so I don't even know where I'd send my crew. You know?
I would assume the PE locker room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, to steal. Well, I want bikes, not jock straps.
Well, I mean, you go where you're comfortable.
You can trade the girls' panties for bikes.
You can trade panties for bikes eventually, but you're not going to get no. You won't even get a unicycle with a dirty jock strap.
That sounds like a horrible fucking police sting.
Yeah.
Use girls' panties for bikes? How could this be wrong? This is let's go. Come on, Cletus.
What are you guys working on over in Vice? Well, we got a little something we've been cooking up for quite a while, actually. Pretty sweet, I don't mind telling you.
Circus comes to town, clothes go missing. We aim to stop the circus. I would like to know if the coach was overstating that, or if there was a series of jockstrap related thefts. They'll take everything, including your jockstraps. Oh, let's fucking prove it, man. You know, it ain't gonna cost us that much.
Are you
to prove it?
Are you talking about a coach's saying, like he was saying that to you about how hard the other team's gonna play? That they'll take everything, including your jockstraps?
No, I think he literally meant we need to clear out our lockers because the circus is going to be using our locker rooms and they'll steal every fucking thing.
That's here on Friday.
When I went to the
circus was coming to town.
Yeah, and I went to the circus that year, and all I could think about was, man, that guy up on the elephant is probably stealing fucking kids' clothes.
The guy in the trapeze is wearing my jockstrap right now.
Yeah, that daring young man in the flying trapeze is wearing my dirty jock.
You see the guy on the trapeze can't reach because he's scratching his balls, and Andy's like, oh, yeah, man, he's wearing my jockstrap for sure.
We didn't have a kind of circus where they really did much high wire stuff.
Yeah.
They just mainly paraded around animals that look like they would rather be on the road doing other gigs.
I don't know.
Elephants.
I've been to a Mexican zoo. There's a lot of places worse than on the road in America.
That's what I had. I had. Well, you probably heard it before, Greg, and everybody's heard it. It's an old classic, Kiko the whale and the Kiko the whale and his whole thing and stuff. But Kiko started out, how he got booked in a Disney picture was he was being mistreated in Mexico City, and then the aquarium in Oregon decided we'll take him in, and then they built the whole thing around him. This is he did the gig. He was acting and he was still living in Mexico City, and he got that Kiko gig, and then he got moved up to Oregon and things was pretty sweet or whatever. But
Well, I mean, for a 6-ton animal to be captive in a swimming pool, he has pretty sweet.
Well, from Mexico City Zoo to aquarium built to him, and he could whip his dick, in Mexico City when he whipped his dick out, they probably made him do something with it, in Oregon he could just wave it around like a fucking flag, like a
They probably slathered it in chili lime seasoning and butter.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't have like a Kiko's fucking after night party where kinky fucks could come in and watch, Kiko drag his cock across glass. It just wasn't. I think, it's like as a comic, sometimes the show just doesn't hit. And but when Kiko dragged his dick out in front of me and my kid, I think it's just too much excitement in the room.
It's like when you see a comedian who kind of checks out during the show and makes some sort of comment about how shitty their life is and how they're going to murder themselves back in the hotel room, and you can tell that they actually mean it. Well, and that's what you witnessed when Kiko dragged his dick
but that wasn't part of the show.
But what they wanted
saying, he was just like he had checked out of the show,
and the crowd,
mentally Kiko wasn't in it anymore, and he was just whatever happens was happening.
It happens like it every time after the fire hoop. Then he does the dick drag across the grass, and then we do the rider on the back.
I feel like it, and I don't know. This is going to somehow make it as clumsy or whatever. But I worked with Jamie Foxx when I was in Boise, Idaho. And Jamie Foxx had him bring a big piano out. And he never played the piano. Lisa Young's like, he wants the grand piano out there. And he never played it. I think he played it once on Saturday night. But or not. But he was just kind of like, he I don't know, I'd never maybe seen an audience react to somebody who was so famous on TV at that moment. So they just lost their fucking mind. And I feel like Jamie Foxx he was just like, holy, couldn't believe how fucking easy the show was maybe or whatever. He didn't really have to do anything. And I just watched it and go, wow, I don't know if he was funny or not, but this crowd applause breaks and shit. And that's when I was in the middle of that Kiko the whale den. And Kiko didn't need to drag his dick out. It's just that they saw something they were so familiar with on TV, and it was like, holy shit. Hey, and that's what it was like that, but it was like this crazy fucking fame situation going on. You can just fucking with Kiko. Well,
you insane.
I'm saying Jamie Foxx had a better show, but I'm saying the reaction of people when
try Jamie Foxx doing 5 shows a week, 5 shows a day for 6 days a week. Drag his ass up and down the fucking pool.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying how people reacted when I was in the middle of the Kiko thing was like Kiko could have just kept his dick out, or maybe some people were into that or whatever, but he could have just put his small, like his tail fin down and then disappeared. And people still would have went and I can't believe how cool he was. Did you believe how cool he was? Like, I think he was acknowledged, like it just, people lose their perspective. And I didn't. I just wanted a dick pic with my kid, my baby, and the whale.
You're the adult in the room?
But I hadn't seen.
So that came in for the dick pic that's clearly coming. So just stand back.
I hadn't been to the movies neither. So I hadn't, if I ran into Harry Potter back in the day, I would have been, oh, cool. My daughter sees those movies, and I've, you know. But like I'd never seen the Free Willy movies. I just got stuck in a goddamn line with a bunch of fucking white trash assholes all fucking afternoon. And then when I got in there, I felt like the show was lacking. Like Kiko didn't hit his marks. He didn't make anybody feel special. And he just decided that was the time to let his big fucking cock out, you know. And I don't know, Milton Berle, you know, maybe Kiko was the Milton Berle of Wales. Legendary big dick. Are
you saying Kiko's dick was pretty big? Or
I'm saying I think so.
Whale,
I've never seen other whale cocks, so
right.
So it could be that he's just creepy or was. But you know, I don't know. Maybe that was just par for the course. I would probably say that he had an average whale size cock, but I didn't know that was even a thing at the time. So I gotta admit, I was as excited as other people, but for different reasons.
No, I think you were more excited, Andy, because I don't think anyone else went there thinking they were going to see a killer whale cock smeared against the glass.
Well, I learned up at the otter tank that you got to get up to the glass, and if you got a little kid, you can wait.
Otters are so fucking gossipy. If those motherfuckers would just chill out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people will push and shove to get to the glass on the otter. So I did that up at Kiko, and then I was like, let's go. Thought I'd pop down. We'd have a wonderful moment. My daughter, we went to a zoo. I forget where it was, but there was a gorilla mama that was at the glass, and it almost looked like it wanted to pull my daughter in and not beat it to death, but take care of it. It was a nice moment, and we got a picture of the gorilla right there with my daughter, and that's what I was hoping from Kiko, not some sort of a jerk off, some sort of a bait and switch.
I get it.
It's rocks off.
So basically, Andy, it's like if Andy walked up and asked Kiko for an autograph, and Kiko's like, "No, fuck you. There's no autographs today. You know,
if you hired a clown to do your party for your kid's birthday, and then you get to find out that the clown was in Mexico City doing his risque show."
Risque?
Well, every show.
Wait, so you think the dick out thing was part of the show?
That's what I'm saying. He thinks there's a tech that's letting us spotlight the dick.
What was that movie about? That fucking horse lovers up there in Washington State, and when they were dragging them horses out of their man horse orgy, a pony ran up and started sucking the dick of a horse getting loaded up. So obviously there's some weird.
Wait, a pony sucked the dick of a horse?
Yeah,
Is that what you just said, Andy? You want to change any of those words?
No, it was the end of that movie, The Zoo, or whatever the fuck it was, about the Washington State horse fuckers. And I'd heard about it, but I didn't understand.
Wait, that's not common knowledge, Andy.
Okay,
we've been talking about team nicknames, and I don't know if there even is a Washington State, but if they don't change their name to the Washington State Horse Fuckers,
I think there's been some. What do you think the Rough Riders are, man? Come on. Roosevelt was all about the bareback.
Yeah, that's not true. That man was a hero.
Well, he rode roughback, bareback, but I forget my point on the history of it all. Horse fuckers. So up there, I'd heard about it, and so when I was working in Boise, Idaho, Brian Lee he was a manager at the time, and he was like, "You see this yet?" And he'd trick you into seeing stuff, and that one I really didn't need to see right before a show. But exactly. Only this was a guy who was like a Proud Boy, so he had a skirt and he was anticipating it. You know, come on, Antifa, ooh, Antifa, you don't scare me, and whatever. But the horse just lit into him, and this video was a guy who got it. He got what he wanted, and he died doing what he loved. Maybe not right then, but he got gutted. They rushed him to the hospital, and it kind of ruined the party. And when I heard about that, of course, your mind wanders to how does this go on? Am I in danger? I've taken my family on horseback rides. I've been on top of a Clydesdale, for Christ's sake. What if he wants to reciprocate? You know?
And he now has a fear of petting zoos.
So then there was this it was a documentary, but with some reenactments. And I don't know what, but maybe it was a story. But when they were loading up, they busted these dudes because they were having like horse orgies. And when I heard it, I was like, God damn it, something needs to be done about this.
I never get invited.
Well, these horses are victims. And then it was like, I saw that video in Brian's office, like, oh, I just assumed the horse was a bottom. You know? Wow, man. I guess I grew up sheltered or something.
All the horses are wearing masks.
Yeah. It never occurred to me that a guy would go out there and get a horse to bone him up the ass. And then since then, I've learned that a whole lot of it goes on. And in fact, in Washington State at the time, there was really nothing on the books that they could go after him on it. And that was the bit I did. It's like, well, you might want to change the laws up there unless you want to become a tourist state. You know, going up to Washington State, the Apple State, but I'm just getting them for treats, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think Andy's working out material.
It's old stuff.
It's
that old?
Back around.
I have material that's just specific to places.
It's
old is the new.
Yeah.
This is what the true irony of Andy Andrus is. He can't remember the jokes when he writes them and has to perform them. But 15 years later, he can circle back around when the topic's brought back up and just fucking crush.
Man, I did a lot of bits that were just Boise, Idaho specific. And I have like a 15-minute chunk. It was like I did it as long as it wasn't so uncomfortable I got pulled off the stage. Where I went in and I go, hey, how's it? The typical shit. Like, you guys in a good mood? And I go, of course you're in a good mood. You guys get all that potato kickback money. Oh yeah, I know your scam. And then it was like, I accused them of being like Alaska, where you got money for living in the state, but you get money for French fries or potatoes. I called it in my notebook. It was the potato conspiracy, and I wrote 15 minutes ?
Were you daring yourself?
People would get upset at times because they didn't know. I was like, there was a guy who was Mr. Simplot. He owned he had a lot of potato land and became very wealthy, and he would eat at McDonald's all the time. And then the potato conspiracy is he had all these potatoes and nothing he could do with them. And then he got together with big saturated oil, and they devised this thing. And that's why people in Boise get money, is because they know French fries are killing people, and they created an obesity epidemic. But I would like keep like blaming the audience for being in on it. And sometimes it worked really well, and other times I couldn't get 4 minutes into it before I fail. Like, fuck it. I think it was about the sales job or whatever. But I even said, like, Mr. Simplot drives around and he picks up homeless people, and I know you see him do it. He goes to McDonald's, has breakfast, and then he loads up homeless people in his trunk, and you never see him again. Think about it. Is it worth your $500 a week? Yeah.
I like the idea of you writing this hilarious bit out in your notebook, and then right next to it writing in parentheses, Boise only.
Yeah.
Northeastern state.
This beautiful piece of comedy that you can now perform once a year in Boise.
Too many local
Thursday,
references.
Friday, Saturday.
Well, he said he had a bunch of like Boise stuff.
Simplot had a hill you can slide down. Like when it snowed, kids go up to the Simplot yard and ski down or slide down. And I said it's the only green in Boise. It's because he waters it with the blood of homeless people. But go ahead, you go cash your gratuity checks. Don't worry about what's going on in Houston, Texas, where everybody weighs 600 pounds. I think I should have got into conspiracy theory radio.
I love it, dude.
It's not necessarily funny enough for people who were expecting a funny show.
And what right do they have to think it's going to be funny if they go to a comedy club on a Friday night? It's not incumbent upon the club to guarantee anything.
Was it funny enough? Not necessarily.
I don't know that I ever heard Lisa Young really laugh during that thing. I think she felt like
15 minutes on Simplot Snow Hill. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it was all different levels where I started talking about potatoes and everybody being in a good mood, and then I turned the tables on them and said that you're in a good mood because you guys all get the state money for the potatoes, and it went downhill. It went downhill like a kid on a sled on Simplot's lawn. Well, anyway.
Andy, this is the video the picture behind me is Simplot Hill.
Yeah, I know. I tried to walk up it on a snow day. He had so much fucking dough that he owned the whole fucking hill.
Well,
I was intrigued by him. He would go eat with his wife there at McDonald's every Sunday morning. I was always too hungover to go join him. He would have liked my company, I'm sure. Hey, Mr. Simplot, I got a bit about you.
Thanks for the hill, man.
Yeah, I know you're a beloved local figure, but I'm going to go ahead and shit on you. At the same time, shit on local crops.
Andy comes into town. He's like, all right, what's the number one crop, number one job title? And what's the town? What's the town flower?
Hicktown.
Number one crop, state bird report from the encyclopedia on each town.
Yeah, I got a little
export.
Yeah, like a naked files or police files or whatever. Got some kid in, but hey man, what's the state bird here?
Yeah, and then it always tells you. They always tell you it's something that nobody from the town actually ever says. You know, it's like, oh, hey, it's great to be here in the old Kumquat Valley, and everyone's like, what?
Ooh, I must read up on it. So Wikipedia. I love that Andy talks to the guy, and the guy's like, well, you got the same state flower the last 5 times you were here. What the fuck?
I'm starting to think that.
Do you know where you're at?
One of the problems I've had in comedy is I would get there, and then I would use that opportunity to come up with an act. And then I would grab a paper, and then I would do, like the Tri-Cities area was looking for a new slogan. Oh, well, there you go. I just burned 7 minutes of upsetting people with my take on that. Hey, how about try harder or whatever, you know, mess-centric, or, you know, I'd come up with ones that were cutting and funny, but people weren't ready to laugh.
You're ready to laugh.
Back then, people weren't ready to laugh.
Are you saying they should have waited till next week?
Well, I was on the front lines, and I would see their face, you know. They're like, we're ready to
You
laugh.
might not get these jokes now, but they'll be pretty funny on the way home.
Or next week when another guy comes up here and uses completely different words and actually tries to put a set together 3 minutes before the show.
Yeah, well, but also though, that gives you, if you do current event stuff, when you fail, it's like, well, you know, sure, set the hurdle high. Sorry, I stumbled. I guess
you can always just blame it on the audience.
Yeah, well,
current events. They're too dumb to know what you're talking about.
Hey, you know, maybe go for a fucking long ball on first down now and then. There's too many comics that go out there with 3 or 4 scripted plays, just get some first downs, try to win the game with ball control. I'd rather lose the first quarter. Quite honestly, then I can rest my starters for another show.
Oh man!
Punchlines.
Andy goes into the victory formation in the first quarter.
Yeah, punchline.
Just taking a knee, coach.
Yep. Don't risk injuries, everybody.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I guess I was antagonistic at times. No, in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the lady said I brought her to tears and not laughing so much. And it was just like basically talked about the well, it said Sioux Falls was ranked higher as a place to raise kids than it had fallen to. And when I walked to the club, which is about 5 or 6 blocks, and there was a lot of broken glass on the street, and so there's nobody at the crowd. There was like 5 or 6 people there, and the one-armed guy, and I did that. I ripped about that.
You know, that one-armed guy that's always sitting in the front row.
One-armed guy with 5 people. Were you performing for Def Leppard?
It was a corporate gig. He didn't know.
No, but he used to drive the tour.
No wonder there was such great catering.
Yeah.
I don't know how he lost his limb. I don't think it was. Was it a tour bus?
In Def Leppard, no, he crashed his car.
Ah, fuck, man. Another band had anyway, I'm combining.
The tour bus was Metallica.
Uh-huh.
And they lost December, not an arm.
They did? They lost the pieces?
Yeah, they lost the whole basis.
They lost the whole fucking package. Well, I hope they restrung the guitar at least.
or found one of his arms and gave it to the guy from Def Leppard.
Yeah.
Fucking no need to waste.
It's way too big.
They should put together a band of guys who died tragically, like Dimebag Darrell, as he was get lead, and then get the Metallica bassist
and guitar,
and then have the Def Leppard leg. Oh, it's an arm.
Then it would be Dimebag Darrell and a leg on stage.
No, an arm.
No, that could be what's playing. Like they always talk about the band that's playing up in Rock and Roll Heaven, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's a bunch of dead guys, but on drums is just Rick Allen's arm.
Arm.
That's the only thing that's made it up to heaven so far. It's heaven, man. An arm by itself could definitely play the drums.
Look, you're not doing a fucking snare roll. You only got one fucking stick.
Yeah,
I gotta put you where I need you.
Just let people know that a lot of it was done with a drum kit, you know, because it's just an arm. It's just, you know, we're going to hire a separate guy for the cowbell if we need that. I don't know.
We're waiting on more pieces. We're going to stitch them together.
Yeah, nobody made.
And then it'll be like a Chuck E. Cheese guy.
We got half of Leonard Skinner.
Oh, Ricky Jerky.
You got all the Leonard Skinner that wasn't afraid to get in
the music.
How many Leonard Skinner died in the crash? Like three of those guys.
3 of them.
You got We're talking a super group.
Oh yeah. There's no shortage of members.
A member of Loverboy died in a boating accident, and I don't know if he was a late member or one of the originals. One of the members of Loverboy fell over a boat and drowned. And in the horrible joke I did right after it, I said he was the lucky one. But no, he wasn't. He drowned, man. I don't know who it was.
You should have said he got lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, the kid was not hot.
He was Lucky Ones is a Loverboy song, though.
No, Get Lucky was the name of the album.
Oh, that's right.
Get Lucky.
Yep.
That was it, wasn't it?
I think you're talking about
Phone Up on My Loverboy.
I was in an air band, Loverboy tribute band, air guitars and lip syncing. I was the lead singer, and I had on the headbands, and we did one gig there, and at the community building. It was just like one of our dances, or like the David Dalton, who sold fake drugs, and we had dances that we did at the rec hall, like a stupid, like, oh, we're gonna go to the teenagers had the rec hall, and then one of the times we had an air band, and I was a singer, and chicks
gave up instruments altogether and just said, we're better with pool cues.
None of us ever played them.
I think you could really shred this fucking talent show.
And in fact, what we did after the party was over, we slung records into the walls and broke them. So we weren't. Not only were we not musical, we had no respect for property or music.
Which doesn't seem very much like Loverboy at all. Why did you guys choose to be Mike Reno and Loverboy?
I don't know, but chicks were
Loverboy.
Kaylee, get a picture of Mike Reno and Loverboy and put
oh,
it up.
you're
Right.
lucky ones. And yeah, chicks fucking were it was
Working
they
for
weren't
the
chicks.
weekend was.
Yeah, they were just fucking coke heel chicks. So they
Scott Smith was the bass player, and Andy, you're right. He died with some friends on they had a 36-foot boat. So it's not.
Should have been 38 feet.
The last 2 feet.
2 feet too short.
Oh, he got swept overboard out in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. He got swept overboard. Body lost at sea, never found.
That seems like more of a Huey Lewis and the band kind of thing, I don't know, but Huey Lewis was more of a Bay Area band. But anyway, oh yeah, see, I know my tragedy.
Yeah, you'd expect Loverboy to sink on Lake Superior.
I should put together
Edmund Fitzgerald.
I should put together a comedy album called Too Soon and redo all those ones that were just like minutes after the story broke, and I did it, and it was like, wow, that's really heartless, man. Because I give it so like the one about the space shuttle blew up, and then they were expecting about 30 feet to fall, or whatever it was. It was it was bad. And it was, it was Colorado Springs, and there was snow expected, and it just seemed like it seemed funnier in my head, and I didn't think about lives lost or limbs. A lot of times you think about lives lost, but you don't go, wow, that was a guy. But you think about it, that's 4 limbs. That's 4 limbs that will no longer kick or grab stuff.
Yeah, I had a glorious night. The night after Great White killed all those people, I had a fucking great show with just everything was about that whole, we didn't lose the cure for cancer in that fire. Don't worry about it. All this shit. I had so much fun doing it. I don't know how fun. It was funny or not.
I remember going, it's horrible what happened there. They say the fire spread really quick. It jumped from mullet to mullet. And shit like that, where you're like, it's like, I can't imagine being in that situation or whatever and go, God damn it, they're going to mock us for our musical taste. Tell people, I was only here on a lark. I really hate this band. I was here to make fun of them. There's 100 people that died, and that's a nice even number, even for a hair band. But 100 people died, and you got to think at least 20 of them were there to fucking just goof on it. And that's the real fun.
Tell everybody I won these tickets on the radio.
Yeah. I just brought this chick because I thought I could get laid. But yeah, it's those same kind of events happen, and it spurs you to, it's like, this will be funny, and it's like, oh man, people get hurt.
I think I've told this story on here before, so I apologize if I have. But the best part about that, for me, doing material about Great White the next night for like 10 minutes, is after the show was over, a person came up to me and said, "Man, I really loved that bit, but you should change it to Guns N' Roses." And I was like, looked at Tom Simmons. I was with Tom Simmons, and we looked at each other, and we were like, "Wait, what? Like, say that again?" Like, I had to have that re-explained to me, and then we just laughed, like, "Oh my god!"
I'm sure there's a slash tag.
Like, what did you think the bit was about if you didn't know that it actually happened? Fucked up.
I remember. It was the wide stance toilet guy. He was a politician.
Minnesota.
He got busted in Minnesota, but he was in Idaho. He was a Boise, Idaho congressman, and I was so like, holy fuck! I was on vacation on the coast or something, and I heard about that, and it was just like, oh fuck! And I was like, I have to call the club to find out who's working there, and it was Sean Rouse. Like, oh my god, I wish I could be there for that. Like Sean Rouse getting that fucking fresh news. Yeah. Congressman spreading his legs wide to fucking solicit toilet sex, and Sean Rouse is there handling the news. In lighter news.
Lighter.
Andy, I read a news article back. A woman got in trouble. I think she didn't get in trouble. She just had her OnlyFans revoked because she shared a video of her younger naked self. And I know you had wondered if there was a line in that, and I don't think she got in any kind of trouble. They just didn't want that shit on OnlyFans.
Yeah. Yeah, there's got to be a way to get them over there. That was it's like my idea was to get my boyhood videos that my older producer or director gentleman escort recorded of me, and then put them online and get creepy fucks, but the fans only, and go, ooh, hi, oh, a little shy kid there, all red face, and then get them over on the OnlyFans, and then be 55-year-old me going, hey, you want to hang out? You might as well. You're getting charged $75, and if that's a problem, we'll charge $150, or just turn you over to the cops.
It's busted. It's $500 if you want me to jerk off right now, though.
Yeah. No, you have to. You have to submit to the Patreon upgrade. That's where I'm 55.
Wait, it's double if I commit the crime, but 50% if I just say go away. What? I don't
drop the Wendy's food over on the table and have a seat. I'm not good at business. That's why my T-shirt business. Look, and then this week I was doing something, and it occurred to me I'm an idiot and a fuck up, and all that. I bought T-shirts with money I could have paid for the sound budget.
That's it.
I'm sitting, but I will not discredit the ability to prop up my computer at this height. So I got shirt tubs of fucking unsold merch. I'm not a very effective salesman. I am great at packaging, but you have to have orders to fill the orders, like Seinfeld. You got to get the orders to fill the orders, and I got shirts, and then I'll have shirts.
Like at my funeral, away, dude. You just got to keep plugging away.
But at my funeral, they'll go, oh, and if you want to help pay for the funeral, you can buy one of the shirts, or you can get the jack pack.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we leave, thank you for coming out to the service.
I'm sorry,
the shirts that are laid down on the chairs that you're sitting on, those are. There's a suggested donation of $75, and I know that it seems like a lot, but it's going to help pay for this eventual production.
And if you'd like his most recent release, he has Dumb It Down for the Masses, pre-signed, of course.
Coming out on cassette.
Yeah, on cassette. I'm trying to track. I did the first time I did comedy was in Coos Bay. They had a contest. And then I did a Coquille Fire Hall party where there's just friends of mine and their parents.
A fighting contest to opening at a fire?
A headline basically with like a Radio Shack kind of a microphone at a fire hall with some of my friends and a lot of their parents and stuff. And not really the kind of show I would try to talk them out of doing now. But back then, I did it. First time, it was like my third show. I did the 2 comedy, or maybe I'd emceed a few times, but I'd, handful of times, and then I did the Coquille Fire Hall in front of my, a lot of people, and I did really well. A lot of local, I wrote, same as it didn't work in Boise, it worked there in Coquille that night. And then
the Boise jokes landed in Coquille?
No, I hadn't even conceived of a place called Boise. As far as I knew, Coos County was as far as it gets. But I was the MC over in Coos Bay and then I did the Fire Hall a second year. Backed by popular demand rebooking.
Yeah.
How did they call it though? What did they? They didn't say backed by popular demand.
No, I did
How'd
so
it
well.
Go?
None of us got arrested.
What happened the first year was Well, what happened the second year that made it worse was there was a fire call about showtime, and I don't know if you've ever been in a fire hall.
It's just not the name of the place. It's an actual fire station where he's performing.
Yeah. So there's a fire call, which just left me with all the cunts. No offense.
Fire.
I'm just talking about all the women in Coquille. I don't mean women, but anyway, I was stuck there. All the dudes, they took off. They got dressed quick, and they took there's a siren that goes off, and they run off, and then they took off. But there was an open beer keg there, and
these guys are volunteer firemen, obviously.
Yeah, but
too,
they're all
right?
there.
That's like the town I grew up in.
They're all there on bank night, you know.
Yeah, they still got to go though. They still got to take off.
Yeah, they took off, and then I basically, was there with all these women, and I won't name names, but there's a couple I really don't like, and so I just stayed and waited and drank and got just fucking shit hammered. So by the time the dudes all came back, and then the show kicked off, and I plugged into the Radio Shack microphone, and they videoed. This is what I'm trying to get, this videotape of this night. I don't know that it exists anymore, but I was shit hammered. I talked about, basically, it was like what I talk about on this podcast, but only really drunk and in front of people who knew other people that I was talking about. And it went horribly. And it was like one of those, like, I could have rock bottomed that morning. Like, I woke up and I was like, holy shit, I got blackout drunk and said a bunch of shit, and they videotaped it, and people were just like embarrassed of it. And and I would really like to get a hold of that. If anyone has that videotape, I know at the time it was passed around, and I didn't want to watch it because I knew it would be humiliating, but I'm cool with it now. I'll bet it's more funny than I bet, I could probably make, like, it's not bad. But I was drunk, and I can imagine it was not, popular at the time.
So the fire call went out. You didn't say like this. We'll just have to do this another night.
This was when I first started Stealing Valor in Coquille. Once I started driving and stuff, and you'd hear the siren, and then people would race to the fire call. And the policeman would block intersections or whatever. And basically all you had to do was hit your hazard lights and you could join in. So whenever there was a fire alarm,
they didn't give you guys a blue light to put on your.
No. And I wasn't a fireman, but that one Mercury Montego you could really, I don't know what you call it, but I could flip the back end around. So I didn't get a chance to really practice that kind of hot rodding around on corners unless you're just driving and you hear the alarms, and then that's what you fucking do. You go, all right, here we go, and at least yank one really solid fucking high-speed corner to get a feel for your car. But I never went down to I'd race to the fire hall and then I'd slow down and go smoke weed near it or whatever, because everybody'd come in, get their shit, take off.
So basically, on the streets of Coquille, when the fire alarm goes off, it's like the purge.
Run lights.
Like for a few minutes, everything's legal. You can do whatever you want. Don't worry about it. So you're out there.
Yeah, you could get it. I mean, you wouldn't get it. Well, you would if they found out you actually weren't a fireman. But hell, man, all them guys, that I was getting a buzz on to do the show, but everybody had a buzz on, and somebody had to drive that big truck.
Why did you think about just doing the show for the women that were left behind, and doing the show on time and not waiting a couple hours for the guys to get back?
I had no reference points of anything, of I was just a house MC. I don't even know why I wanted to do it. It's like I don't want. I can't remember. People like have a clear idea how they got started in comedy. I think I just
how old were you then?
I got kicked out of 2 colleges, and I did all that summer mill work, and then I got kicked out of college, and I was back in Coos County in the fall, and I took a job at that mill where I got fired from there eventually too. But I was there in the fall, and I realized, oh, I'm not better than these people anymore. Oh, fuck. I'm one of them, you know? And then there's like losers from my high school that had already found out that community college wasn't their bag neither, or whatever. And yeah, so that was and then after that I went back to college, and I don't know, I think I just fizzled out there too. I don't know that I got kicked out, but I didn't get I wasn't motivated.
So that's when you started comedy.
Yeah, but in one of that fall I was back in Coos Bay, and
you were like 23 or 24 years old probably.
And yeah, I just ran into some bad credit. But I did this comedy contest, and it was like a bunch of open micer to road hack comics in this contest, and I was a newbie. I was the only well, there might have been some other local flavor, but anyway, I made it to night 2 of it, and I had I think I talked about this, but I had material for night 1, and in night 2 I didn't realize I didn't have to. I could have done the same material again.
Right.
Classic.
I did an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. I had my pants pulled way too high and no reference to it. Wasn't and what's the other thing? Oh, and then I know I later maybe did this to work out, but I did a bit about a bunch of people at a dinner party that got food poisoning from mushrooms and had to have their livers removed or something. And it was the guys of the show of this comedy contest was a fundraiser for that sort of shit. So I thought, oh, perfect. I'll talk about people who, and then the joke was, boy, that's not going to get you the promotion, inviting everybody over for a business dinner party. And then not, it was, probably didn't. I would.
It's a thinker. Yeah.
I'm sure you told it better. I'm sure you told it better.
No, I didn't. I didn't. And I didn't.
Once, right?
I still see. I didn't.
We hope you had to be there.
In the 30 years since then, I haven't workshopped it. But I know it didn't work. And what I should have done in Coos Bay was be dumber. I was already as smart as them, and I was trying to, work a little bit above that. And I should have just wallowed in the gravy with them.
Well, you got to decide what you like to do. Do you want to do stuff that you think is funny or stuff that they'll think is funny? Because a lot of times it's not the same.
Well, I got a $50.
Sometimes you can find it and make it the same.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know and I don't know why I did that. I think I was just like ready to fucking punch that mute in the face over at the mill, or I hated myself so much. And then and then I figured, fuck it, I'll go do that. And then I basically, like, I plan things in my life as like I planned that 5 minutes. Oh wait, I advanced.
Wait, you planned a whole fight?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just talked about my brothers throwing me over the hill, and maybe a drowsy dog. I think drowsy dog come up. I was such a pure, innocent person back then. I had nice bits that didn't have fuck and cock and all the horrifying birth defects.
Punch lines.
Punch lines. I basically was working towards punchlines, and sometimes I inadvertently had them, and then I would step on them or whatever. But
whatever that's called.
I mean, I had like dangs. I had blocks of material that all fit together, and then I know when it ended in Astoria, Oregon, right before Thanksgiving, when they put me up there with no microphone. No, years later, because after the Coos Bay shit and the Coke Heel situation, I worked towards being what appeared to be a professional, and I put my material together in blocks and always try to. And then when I would get rattled, then I would drop big blocks of material and struggle. But if I stayed on task, and sometimes I did, but in Astoria, Oregon. There was this was okay. I also knew this about him. The Heaven's Gate cult.
Yeah.
The one with the purple sweatsuit.
Yeah,
apple white.
That was one of their areas where several of the people who died in it were from there. And I had that packed away in my head, but I didn't mean that, Anyway, they introduced me without a microphone. The bass player to the band goes, well, once you wouldn't give me a drink without paying for it. And then she goes, well, the mic isn't working, but we're going to introduce you anyway. And it was a den of white trash, like like the Kiko crowd or a Coos Bay buffet of people.
Coos Bay buffet.
And they're all jammed in there. And the mic doesn't work. And I don't, and then I really regretted not buying a beer. But on principle, I'm like, well, fuck it. I would do my act without drinking. And at that point, it was a possibility, but I needed a beverage. So I kept going, can I get a beer? And then the people started to realize, and I was just, they eventually started making fun of me, when I started trying to do shit. And then they really let in and stuff. And this went on for a long time, and I don't know how they got the mic on. It sucked.
That should have never happened to you. I want to talk to you now like I'm a rape counselor talking to a rape victim. Like I'm sorry that this that should have never happened to you. That's a situation that should never exist, and I'm sorry that it happened to you. And you are right to be traumatized for it.
And then so after this, I stood there and I was humbled to my core. But when the mic kicked on, I'd gotten past that. And it was like I was in the middle of one of my family, what we call shit outs, or people just said,
what? What do you call
shit
it?
outs?
Family shit out?
Yeah, like Dory and David or Bill would, just horrible things that probably like Festivus, like, a lot of, but we had a lot of repressed emotions. And then when the dam broke, people would just let loose, and that's what happened. It was like when the mic kicked on, I was like I jumped from table to table, and I saw you too. Like I wasn't doing comedy. I was just
attacked.
I attacked, and then I go, that's my time, and walked off. And I don't even know. I think I did about 7 or 8 minutes, but I stood there for 15 minutes before the mic came on. No
microphone.
I let loose, and then I went to my room, and I think I had some beers there that were warm beers, and I chugged about 4 of them, and then I went back down there and fucking had a few drinks and probably caroused around and hung out. And then after
you went back to the bar?
Yeah.
To fucking check out the crew. Like everyone who wants to murder him.
What's wrong with you, man?
I was very stupid.
You got raped in that. I just compared you to a rape victim, and now you're like, and then I went back and shot pool with the guys. They were actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did bumps that night. But I know, because everybody was happy about me attacking the other people, and they didn't, maybe I didn't get to every table or whatever. Maybe I just had it out the first, the people like, let's sit up front and we can harass some people. And it was right before Thanksgiving too. And here's one of the things it probably didn't sting them like I hoped it would, but I think I closed on this as I go, you guys hear about the Heaven's Gate? Some of you guys were in the, why you weren't, because he didn't want you assholes in the, like I tried to insult them that they didn't get invited to kill themselves.
Because they get picked for the Comet team.
Yeah, you got picked. You got cut from the team. But after that, I just because that was always the big drawback is like to being organized was when it'd fall to pieces. But I didn't, I didn't stick with it. I got rattled in the pocket. And
you got the yips?
Yeah, I got the yips.
Yeah, man. You got to keep your head down and follow through. Otherwise, you'll slice everything right off.
Yeah. So I got the yips, and I never went back to organized thoughts again. And it's like you can.
It does seem like that's true, man. It does seem like that's true, though. I feel like if this is your stand-up comedy therapy, that we've had an actual breakthrough, so that really was the night that, like, you got broken as a comedian, and you never really went back and fully made the attempt of, because you were like, oh, if they're just gonna, treat me like that, I can't. I'm not going to try anymore.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
not blaming yourself for any of it.
Why would
every crowd Andy saw the faces from that Astoria crowd, no matter where he was, when he looked out, those were the same faces he saw every single time he did comedy.
So
when I was
from Astoria staring out.
When I wouldn't get on my when I get on my rolls, like basically like in Boise, Idaho, because I would go there Wednesday, and it was a crowd Lisa cultivated that would be a little better than most, and I would get into a roll, and I would let crowds know when they were at fault. But you start getting shaky and you take a few sacks or whatever, and you're like, I'm not sure anymore, I used to be able to fucking ad lib or whatever, but now
here's the classic Andy Andrist play is that you'll say something on Friday night that's so fucking brilliant that just absolutely destroys, and everyone is like, oh my God, that is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And then someone will tell you that afterwards. They'll be like, oh man, that thing you said that about the giraffes, that was so fucking funny, dude. That was perfect. So then the next night you got that in your head and you jump to the giraffes well before you're supposed to.
Oh my God. Totally.
And then part of the premise that made the giraffe line so funny got skipped. So now the giraffe line isn't funny at all, and everyone's just confused. And then you're confused, Andy, because you don't understand why it didn't work this time. And we're like, yeah, but you left the part out about the zebra. Like, it's not funny unless you do the zebra bit, because that's
introduces the ostrich to the giraffe. There's no joke if you don't have the ostrich and the giraffe knowing each other.
I like to cause uncomfortable conversations from people who saw the show on Wednesday and the ones who saw it on Friday. Like, oh man, the show was great on Wednesday.
You're like,
really?
Yeah,
he
no,
sucks.
You know what you are. You're like, who's the is it James Joyce? You're like a James Joyce novel. Like everyone's like, this is an amazing piece of work, but no one understands it. So they have it and they try to read it, and then they get together and they talk about it, and they all know it's really great. But its greatness has to be enjoyed with another group of people who are all talking about the time they tried to read it.
Ulysses.
And that's Andy back. That's like everyone gets together after it's over, and we're like, yeah, but dude, on Thursday he said this, and then you put the pieces all back together, and you kind of look at it, and you're like, God, it's fucking beautiful. It's perfect, and that's how it exists.
It's like a puzzle you get at Goodwill, and you put it together.
Way to dumb it down for the masses.
So much better.
I don't think Andy caught what I did, but anyway.
I missed that.
I know. Why not?
Hey, I got shirts available.
So we will have already done the
thanks everybody.
Did everybody?
That was a blast. You guys were the best. Amazing time. Really. I mean, best we've ever done. Best
Linda. Oh my God. That was hilarious. We can count on Linda.
And everybody. So I apologize.
Yeah, Chad didn't mean those things.
It was all in the spirit of the holidays, my friends.
Absolutely.
I didn't think my penis was visible. I was just trying to show off the Wizinator I got.
Just promoting Stand Up's new live album, live streaming.
Boom.
I went that way.
Yeah. And special guest surprises, which you already know about.
What's that?
I don't know. Well, James Frost is going to play.
It's already happened, is what he's talking about. He's still talking. You were there for the office party, Shane?
Oh,
yeah.
What? That thing. I forgot we were in the
special guest.
The future, not in the past.
I know it's pretty evergreen around here. Not. Well, it is on this angle.
Andy, that's your best light, by the way, turning the light away from you.
Good.
That's a reflected light off your shades and your
I basically have it. I have all the tools. It's just, figuring out how to use them and what they're for. Whatever. Fuck it. I don't have all the tools, but I got a lot of.
You have an opposable thought. That makes you better. But
I'm about an eggnog away from belting into some Christmas classics.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
I'll be home for Christmas.
I was warming up like that before we got on because I hadn't talked to anybody all day long, and I wasn't expecting it. I was like, oh, I better talk them for a minute.
Yeah, boo boo boo. Bing,
let me make the words for it.
Yeah.
You know, Bing Crosby, he loved Christmas.
Yeah, Chad, has that ever happened to you where you spend so long during the day without talking to anybody that by the time you finally start to talk, it's like nighttime and the first words aren't like even words? They're just like,
I'm going to
come out. Yeah, the words
like
come
you
out
forget.
like a Clint Eastwood character after riding a horse through the desert.
Yeah.
How you doing, neighbor?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know when my kid was little and I would go places that I'd realize I hadn't talked, I talked to my baby or whatever, but then I would go someplace and I just like resented having to have it's like, what? I don't fucking talk to me. I'm not talking to people anymore. It's me and a baby.
You're the guy who approached a group on a fucking Confederate Dixie.
I said four.
Damn, Andy, you're not avoiding people.
I said like 2 words to him.
My point.
I didn't
All he said to him was,
I did walk through. I did walk closer to the area. Yeah, it wasn't a clear, walkway. It's kind of a makeshift patio.
and all he said to him was Torah, Torah, Torah.
I agreed with him. But it wasn't clear what they meant with the Dixie flag. But I go right on because that kind of covers a lot.
Yeah.
Without
it's clear.
Yeah. So and then sometimes your best thoughts come out of your asshole. And that, I couldn't, if I would have tried to express my displeasure.
Who gave you the fucking pearl of wisdom?
There's no words that I could think of that wouldn't create an argument, but I basically told him how I felt with my ass. Like, boom, boom. I don't want to, well, it's not bragging, but it's almost like reverb on it. Like I want to, like if my ass was a stereo right now, I would turn it down a couple levels because it's just, I don't like it that loud.
I think you give these people too much credit, Andy. I think they met a new like-minded friend who then accidentally farted. They don't have any idea that part was ill-intended.
In fact, they might even look at it as an act of friendship and bonding that you're already comfortable enough with them to just start letting loose. Because there's some fart motherfuckers. If they're eating fast food at a closed food court, they are some farting, gassy motherfuckers.
I might have misread.
Welcome home, prodigal son.
Yeah, I might have misread the so I was thinking like they were bummed because their sandwich was going to get, infected or whatever. But they might have been going, or like, here we go. Yeah. Play that sweet Dixie music, brother.
Let her rip.
Didn't you insure it?
Well, the teenage girl didn't say anything. I think she thought she was being courted.
Older dude's fixing herself up. Her hair.
Older dude walks back, walks across the thing, stands by her dad, farts, stands by her mom, farts, and then lets it rip by her. Of course she's thinking I'm going to steal her away from the family. Total alpha fucking inbred dog move.
The whole family was confused as to why you didn't stick around for the response fart call to your father.
It makes me think
that's just rude, son.
It does make me think I need to go back to HM. Is that store? Because they got H&M, they got the perfect pants. They look like dress pants, but they're pajama pants. And I haven't taken them off since I got them. But after ripping the Nazi fart, I thought I should get a second pair of them while they're only $15.
Yeah.
Like it'd be good to have an emergency pair of fucking. I mean, I might not ever wear another pair of pants. That's how fucking comfortable.
You gotta buy 5 pair.
But I'm gonna need a couple of them if I continue to be aggressive that way. Yeah, $15 fucking lounge pants.
Yeah, H&M is a terrible corporation that we shouldn't support. So
supported-
steal those pants from H&M, Andy, if you can do it without getting caught. Because fuck H&M.
Oh, I was in there and their lights turned off. Actually, the store they turned off, and then I noticed that the security camera was off. Everything went off, and I did it. It was like, just by reflex, I was like, oh, I should steal something, and I didn't. I really wasn't in an area where there's anything I wanted to grab, or but that was, I mean, that's when you do it. The electricity's off, man. Loot. I didn't know about their corporate. If I'd have known more about the corporation, I would have planned on
H&M. Yeah.
Anyway.
H&M is always, they have really cheap shit, and they try to change it all the time to keep up with the latest fashion when it's really cheap. So obviously that combination leads to the most exploited workforce in the world. There you go. Look, I thought you were going to pull them down.
Those exploited people make.
Whenever one of those factories in Laos collapses on 1,000 people who are sewing things, it's always for H&M. They're always making $9
So you're saying these
for
pants are probably flame resistant? Well, shit. Well, I didn't buy a second pair of them. I just thought
those are nice pants. I'd call it collateral damage, man. Yeah. That's fine. Don't you feel guilty about your pants.
And the first time I wore them out, I wore them to Costco, and a lady, she was selling air mattresses. Like,
wait, you wore them out, or I
wore them out and about. And a lady who was working at Costco, and I didn't have a question for her. She goes, she had a question for me, and I go, what? And she goes, where did you get those pants? And I go, and I told her, and she goes, I'm kind of shopping. She goes, what size are you? I go, a lot of chicks say it's bigger than average.
Andy, why was she talking to you?
I was just walking by, and she was selling the air mattresses.
Yeah, she's working one of the booths at Costco. and he didn't tell us that, but she's trying to sell Tempur-Pedics to fucking people.
No,
nice pants, I don't think so. Bro.
I'm at Costco, and I can't keep these people at the end of the aisles from talking to me. Jesus Christ.
She was on page 1 of the sales manual still. It didn't even make it past that.
Yeah.
And if you think of anything, say, hey, where did you get those pants?
Yeah. Well, right. Yeah, I'm a rube that way. I mean, it took me a while to catch on.
I would have fallen for it.
Like Dutch Brothers, that's a coffee place, and they would go, hey, man, you look good in that. Or like, find something to compliment. And I remember going in there one time, and this dude goes, hey, how's it going, man? I go, all right. And he goes, wow, I like that sweatshirt. And I go, oh, thanks, man. He goes, you're really rocking it. And then I got my coffee, and I was like, wow, man. I was like, fuck yeah, I guess I really like this sweatshirt now, or whatever. And then I went back another time, and they're like, oh, cool hat. Yeah, man, you're really rocking.
Well, Andy, if you would have waited 5 minutes after you got your coffee until the next person came up in line, you would have heard them say, dude, where'd you get those shoes? You're really rocking them.
I know. So what they pay a compliment, but I do fall for that. But I think she really likes
it. Works.
Yeah. I mean, I do that. I mean, I'm that kind of.
There were guys that said that.
I'm an afterthought shopper, and you should know the size of people you're buying for or whatever. But you go to a store and you're like, I don't know how big she is or whatever, and then you find some little lady or whatever and go, "What size are you, little lady?" And you go, "Okay." That's about roughly what I. That's about roughly what I squeeze.
You're half of the person I'm married to.
Yeah. Yeah. You get the guy from Def Leppard. Hey, I want to see how my boyfriend would look in this shirt, and he's missing an arm. Let me pin the sleeve up there. Yeah, that's
Does it come with the pin?
oh man. Yeah.
Wait, you're drinking Myers rum as shots?
Well, now I am because I'm
Really?
just finishing off the buzz.
Yeah,
and the rum. It got,
and no one drinks lots of Myers rum. No one.
People who drink big bottles of alcohol are irresponsible, but I did go through this little bottle awful quick. So
I don't think you should put a
stay with the little ones, dude.
Yeah.
Stay with the little ones.
Yeah, they're
put
fun.
Two statements. They actually complement each other. They're not opposite.
And a lot of people think you hit somebody with a bigger bottle, but the littler ones do more damage because they don't break as easy. So you can really conk a guy.
You got to get in there closer, though.
Yeah, you got to get.
You got to get in his kitchen.
But that's why you got to come up with something clever or distracting to say.
I like those pants.
Hey.
You can't just grab the bottle like you're Billy Bob and
excuse me. I wrote in all day, and I'd just like to know where you got those pants at. Crack. I think I'll be taking them off of this corpse now.
Oh shit.
I went shirt shopping. I was thinking of this with the Hedberg stuff. Is when I was in Boise, Idaho with
What's
Mitch.
the Hedberg stuff?
Well, the documentary on Sirius.
The Julie Seabaugh vehicle.
Yeah, because the timeline
Hope
when
on top.
Paint the picture, Andy. Paint the picture.
Anyway, you guys just did, and so when I worked in Boise, one of the first times with Hedberg was in that right after he got signed by 3 Arts. And but we got somebody left 2 bikes at the condo in Boise, and we decided to go to like a TJ Maxx, I think it was. We're gonna ride them bikes up to the mall, and we missed the bike trail and ended up riding up the off ramp, going the opposite direction of the traffic, on cars honking and driving. It was like a part of a freeway sort of, and we were up there and riding the bikes on the shoulder. And Mitch like, this is ridiculous. But we decided we were definitely, we could have stopped and turned around and gone with traffic. And
I believe, if I remember the topography, you were going uphill, weren't you?
Yeah, uphill, up on off ramp, up and then around about 1.5 miles to the mall. Yeah. And man, we were happy when we made it to that mall exit off of the fucking highway. And
thank God they built a mall there. Is that what you just said?
Yeah. Well, and then we found a safer way, or we might even called somebody. I think we were it was frazzled, but we both got gig shirts and wore them and fucking shined like diamonds. And I killed on that potato conspiracy bit. It made it hard for Hedberg to follow, but he had a bit about a food grater that worked really nice with my potato bit.
Yeah. You do the Pringles can joke?
Together we were hash browns.
The Hash Brown Brothers?
Somehow I think Hedberg soldiered through his set.
Well, I know that one night, me and Mitch, or it was Sunday, and it was we went ahead and drank all day because it was what do they call that when they let all the industry night, or not industry, but
service industry. Service industry night. Sin night, we call it.
Yeah, sin night. And we had a couple of ladies stalking us. It was a weird situation. But me and Mitch and Dr. Gonzo, we drank all day at this beer hall. And then we decided, we made like, all right, we're just gonna keep drinking, and then we decided we weren't going to change clothes at all. So we went from like, Sunday afternoon drinking beer, and then we made it to the whiskey joints, and then we made it to the show. And Lisa Young just goes, "Oh no," when she saw me and Mitch come in there, and then we also made the rule that we were going to go. I was first, so I was going to do 5 minutes without material, and which is fine because that's what I do anyway.
Like on a Sunday night.
Sunday night.
They'll challenge each other because it's after they got paid usually, or they already did the Saturday 2 shows.
We were drunk as shit, like we came in there and we were just like fucking barely able to, it was a fun, really drunk too, and to Lisa Young's credit, she still served us drinks there. So I went up, bombed, and then Mitch was going to do 10 minutes without material before he did his first joke. And then like Gonzo was going to do 15 minutes. And anyway, Hedberg went up and I introduced him. I go, because people, you can tell as an MC or a person when everybody hates you and they want you to leave. And that's how the audience felt. And I go, "I'm really sorry. You guys are probably ready for a sober comic." And they, really very enthusiastic. And I go, "Too bad I drank with this guy all day. Give it up for Drunkberg." And he, same kind of set. And then Dr. Gonzo got up and he was supposed to do 15 minutes. And he got up and started immediately playing a song about the Hershey squirts. So we realized who the pro was. Like,
wait, how come the guy goes on third and he does 15 minutes?
Well, because he had a longer set, so we're all supposed to ad lib and not do material. We're drunk.
15 minutes of no material.
Yeah. Okay. So Hedberg, he did 10 minutes without any jokes, really.
Got it. Yeah.
I was just walking down and, "Man, your town is pretty." Stuff like that or whatever. And I don't even know what I did.
Those are my favorite 10 minutes of every night on tour with Hedberg, is that he would do something that happened between the last time he was on stage and then, or like in the car ride over or driving to the gig. And it would always be something fresh that he would do. Doug does the same thing. I mean, you guys all try to bring something fresh up front and not go straight into material, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard about the Great Potato Conspiracy?
I remember.
Not all of them work.
I remember the first time
everyone off the idea of doing that.
The first time I saw Hedberg at Bellingham, he did that. He was just talking about Karate Kid 3. Why is everybody trying to beat up the hot chick? Yeah, I'm sure he just saw that at the hotel. And but like Dr. Gonzo went up and he started immediately in his fucking, he saw what happened, and the only way to save that show.
He's not going to do that.
Yeah, he went right into a song about diarrhea. And he taught us all a lesson on getting work.
Making that catfish to sing.
Yeah. I love Dr. Gonzo. John Means, he owns the comedy club just south of Peoria. What town is it in?
Shitville?
I can't remember. He moved he moved back to his hometown, which is like 25 or 30 minutes south of Peoria, and he opened up a comedy. Mason City Limits. That's the name of the comedy club, and he moved back and he turned it into like a supper club. Yeah, it's like a supper club and a comedy show.
It's still open. I saw something.
I got to send him my avails.
Right.
Oh yeah, he's waiting for you, Andy.
He'll hook you.
I'm going to send out a calendar to all the clubs this year with my avails on it.
Dr. Gonzo used to open for Joe Walsh.
Really? Yeah. He's a music guy, but he was, he was fun. I only worked with him once.
He's a sweetheart, man. I love him.
Yeah, I know this about him. Lisa Young told me she made out with him once, and I went, ew.
He was a cool, back when comedy was booming in the 80s, he was in San Francisco. So being a guy with long hair and a good at guitar and just making silly noises with his guitar, it made him very, very popular. He was like, he was doing equal billing with Robin Williams, like for a brief hot minute.
If you do a search for Dr. Gonzo, and you do a image search, one of the first ones that comes up is him and Sam Kinison. So
Yeah.
it's like it's in that era,
Yeah.
and like to be a guitar comic back then, I'm thinking of fucking Banjo for fucking Steve Martin. Who else did like singing comedy back then? That would have really stuck out.
He was like a Smothers brother.
Yeah.
Shit. All right, let's go.
Brother.
Another smother. Another smother. No, that's it. We had to get there. We had to work together to get there, buddy.
He's the Andy Smothers. Like Andy Gibb. Never was a BG.
Oh, he was the best.
Was he?
Andy, what are you doing?
I love it that
I unplugged
because
that shit.
your name is Andy, you had to explain that joke because it didn't make any sense.
Hello?
We would have thought it was Andy Gibb.
Let's not skip over the fact that we're not done yet, and Andy unclipped the microphone. He's breaking down the gig. We're still live. The question begs: is this what we're going to see on December 19th at 2 p.m. Standard Time?
It's just the kind of thing we have just seen yesterday.
Yes,
probably. Yes, remember, this is basically a callback. This is basically an entire callback. The brilliance of this callback to the. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being there at the Christmas party.
I totally forgot. I thought we were still promoting.
Yeah. That's fun. All right, let's go. I gotta go do some things.
There's the right one.
But that's what I'm talking about. Thanks for being out there, everybody. We love you, and we do thank you for being out there always. We have fun doing this, so as long as you guys are out there, we'll keep doing it as long as you want us to. So thanks a lot. Is there anything else anybody wants to leave us with?
I'm posting the part 2 of the Other End of the World podcast. That's questions with James Inman, and that's going to come out this week, and it's for Patreon for Doug Stanhope, and I'm going to put it up on the as well. So
lovely. And you've heard the pitch, and you know he's a good salesman. But if you haven't gotten your Nature Jack T-shirts yet, grab a couple, because the guy's got tubs and tubs of these fucking things, and he took all the money he had in the whole world and he spent it all on T-shirts, and none of them were triple XL, which was the size that he needed to get. So his guy's really he's out over his skis, as we say up on the top of the mountain. So help a brother out and visit naturejack.com and get a nice you can still we'll get them to you in time, maybe not for Christmas, but for Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And we're guaranteed to have these shirts to you by a Christmas. So pick them up. All right. We love you guys. That's Greg Shaley and Chad Shank and Andy Andrist. I'm Brett Erickson. We'll see you next time.
What's that good mustard?
Oh, no.